following on from all the stories this week, I just wanted to pose the question that, what is the negative effect that social media has on the modern day Super League game? So we did a bit of digging around and kind of made a few notes and all that kind of thing. And there's a few aspects where it's very obviously affecting Super League, Rugby League at the highest level. Of course, there's loads of positives in regards to, distribution, engagement, exposure, all this kind of thing, but I think there's been some negatives as well. So what do you think, Karl?
Well, should we go through you've put 6 points down here, haven't you?
Just different categories that I think
should we
has an effect.
Go through them one by one. So the first point you've made is player mental health and well-being. Cyberbullying and abuse. Players often subject to negative comments and harassment. So obviously that's a negative. But you don't have to be on social media. It's completely up to you.
No, you don't. And Jamie Jones Buchanan's not on social media at all.
I bet he is.
No, he's not. He tells us.
But I bet he is.
Why?
I bet he's under a different name.
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%. I'm telling you, I bet he is.
I don't know if he is.
I bet he is.
I have a source very close to the... but I don't know. Yeah, you're right. You don't have to be on there. But I think, modern day society, raising your personal profile, everyone's got a personal brand. I think, a lot of players are on there because they are influential. But, and this is very different. Like, I think what happened in the changing rooms with the picture and all that that's very different from like a gang of people like making your life hell online. Do you know what I mean? And this is the kind of cyberbullying thing. And
we actually sat in on a media brief, didn't we? An RFL media brief with England wheelchair side. Andy Wilson was doing it. He did. He basically said that to the players, he was sort of
encouraged them,
but to be themselves. And if they're not comfortable with social media, then don't do it. But yeah.
And also all that brings a pressure to perform, doesn't it? Oh. You know what I mean? Because now, people they can speak to you directly through your social media channels, and that's not. It's not something I ever had to worry about. But imagine being like a player where if you had a terrible game, and then you're just getting slated because people have a direct channel onto your feed and your family in some cases. So there's definitely a pressure there, and that's going to affect people's.
That's a huge negative, isn't it? Really. I can't really. There's nothing I can say positive about that. That is a huge negative of social media. That is the world we live in, isn't it?
It is. Next one is
keyboard warriors.
Absolute trolls and keyboard warriors. And next one is like distraction and focus. Like, you talked about being professional and professionalism, and one of those things is like when everyone else is going, pissing up, like you're professional, you're acting like a professional, and you're missing out on things now because you have a career in professional sport. And however, this social media is a distraction and reduces focus. Do you know a stat that I heard this week? That the average TikTok user, my thoughts on TikTok, Cal. The average TikTok user...
You're on TikTok, you are, mate.
Not as a person, I'm not. As a brand I am, but not as a person. So the average TikTok user scrolls with their thumb the height of the Eiffel Tower every week.
Flipping heck.
Exactly. So, how long is that going to take? Do you know what I mean? Like, how much time have you wasted doing that? It just blows my mind. Anyway, so distraction.
Yeah, so our TikTok followers just took a nosedive there. 100% clipping that and getting that on this week.
Next one then, misinformation and rumours. So, we know all about this, Karl, don't we?
Social media can be a breeding ground for rumours and misinformation, and it can also be a damage to your reputation, false allegations. Yeah, so we only got to look at what's gone on Twitter this week, what we've just been talking about in League One.
Yeah.
There's no actual proof that any of that actually, the image, and there's no proof that actually happened. Someone could Photoshop that, and there's, like, say, rumours spread like wildfire on Twitter. Yeah. You've only got to look at the. I don't know if I should really bring this up, but the lad that's gone missing in
Tenerife later,
in Tenerife. You go on Twitter, there's not that many stories about that.
Yeah,
and you got to say probably 90% of them aren't true. So yeah, it's in the rugby league world. Yeah, it probably happens. 100% it happens.
Okay, next one is like privacy. We've mentioned family and stuff like that before, but just an absolute invasion of privacy. You've got to be really careful what you post online. You know what I mean? It only takes the fact that you post. In fact, weren't there a case with footballers where they were like away playing away, and then someone broke into their house when they was at home because they knew they were on a training camp and nicked a load of jewelry. There was like a Russian, or some Eastern European gang was targeting. You know, so privacy concerns is another one.
Yeah, and then you've got also a fan behaviour and toxicity. So yeah, like similar sort of thing in it. Anonymity on social media can lead to toxic behaviour amongst fans. So yeah, like we've spoke about, keyboard warriors. They kind of feel like they can say whatever they want, don't they? Because it's an open forum. So yeah, it is. I do think it's probably damaging to players. In all, we need to speak to some players, really, don't we, who have been sort of harmed by this, I suppose.
Not just players. I mean, like coaches as well. Like, you look at Ian Watson, the story that broke this week is that he said that Huddersfield's not the team that he thought he was when he took the job, you know, and that now has been embellished and spoke about and all. And you know, it has an effect on dynamic. You know, the final point there is like team dynamics, but across the board. Ken Davey putting out a statement saying, you know, it's not good enough, and people then going, you know, they take the inference then, all right, he's going to get sacked.
Yeah.
You know, so the dynamic just gets messed about, and I bet they do feel the pressure there. So it's definitely some negatives of social media.
Yeah, when we go through those points that we've just gone through, there seems to be more negatives than there does positives. Well,
I don't know about that. I mean, there is a case for like.
I mean, the positives are that you get an insight into a player. I think that's huge. We never used to have that before. When a professional rugby player, everything was sort of behind closed doors. Wasn't it? Now cameras are going in. Now you get to see the life of a player more than you ever have done. So yeah, there is some positives about it, but there's a hell of a lot of negatives.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of positives as well. One real times or real life kind of example of that is, remember, like I used to watch Harry Smith and I was like, well, you know, I'm a bit give or take with Harry Smith. We then listened to him in a press conference, you know, which went out on social media, and I really bought into him as a player. I thought, you know, he's a real, and I don't know why. I don't suppose I questioned it, but I don't know why I'd formed this opinion that I can take or leave him.
Because it were Wigan, mate.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, he played for England, and I'm like, well, I don't really know. But then when you hear his thoughts and you hear what's going on, and there was a clip going out, you know, where Sean Wayne was saying, look, you know, just do whatever you did when you was 12 and 13, you know.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Brilliant that was.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, all that helps us to invest in players, and the teams are made up of players, and the sport is made up of teams, and if we can invest in those base levels more, then we can invest in our sport more, and it makes more entertainment. So I think there's massive positives, but it doesn't come without the inverse of all that. So players have got to be tough-skinned. Back to my original point, you know what I mean? Apply a bit of professionalism, like you said, and then just be a little bit tough-skinned, because you're going to get it, you know?
Yeah.
I get it in business. You'll get it because of your haircuts and that. So you've just got to take it, haven't you?
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap up.